Hey guys, this is Seven with the Hard Time Strongmen podcast, and today we're going to talk about one-time pads. Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about one-time pads. One-time pads are an encryption method that cannot be cracked, but requires the use of a single-use key that is larger or equal to the size of the message being sent. This is an old tried but true way of making sure that whatever you have to say stays secret. So, references for today. A couple articles from Wikipedia with a lot of really great reference points cited at the bottom. So, the just general one-time pad article from Wikipedia, the article on modular arithmetic. There's a write-up on cipher machines and cryptology, and the book Communication Theory of Secrecy Systems. All those references are going to be listed in the description for you guys for your better learning and just to keep us accountable. So today I'm all on my lonesome. I got Six over on paternity leave. He just had his little one, so I'm giving him a break. So I've got the keys today. Like I just said a minute ago, a one-time pad is an encryption method that cannot be cracked, which requires the use of a single-use key that is larger or equal to the size of the message being sent. So the beauty of this is the one-time pad is impossible to break if four rules are maintained, if they're met. So condition one, the key, the one-time pad, must be as long or longer than the plain text message, the message that you're trying to send out. Condition two, the key must be random, uniformly distributed in the set of all possible keys, independent of the plain text, non-algorithmic, chaotic. Anything less does not provide perfect secrecy. You can't just throw your key in a random value generator and call it good. It needs to be absolutely, random. As the name suggests, anything that, has a rhyme or a reason to it, that will be able to, someone will be able to take advantage of that. Condition three, the key must never be reused in whole or in part. So this is where the whole one-time pad, part of the name comes from. So, historically, as soon as these things are used, they're burned. They're completely destroyed, not spoken of, not, nothing can remain. That is the only way that this communication is able to, be, completely secret. And condition four, the key must be kept secret by the communicating parties. Obviously, the two or more people that are communicating using this system, cannot talk about the system or let it on the secrets. Otherwise, it all falls apart. So, history of the one-time pad. It was first invented in 1882 by a gentleman called Frank Miller. It was later reinvented in 1917 by Gilbert Vernon, then patented in 1919. The patent was to combine the message with a key from a punched tape. It was later improved by Joseph Mauborgne, who recognized that if the key was randomized, cryptanalysis would be impossible. And in a classified report in 1945, Claude Shannon, an information theorist, proved that the one-time pad is unbreakable, and that any unbreakable system must essentially have the same characteristics of a one-time pad. So I don't normally speak in absolutes, but it is important to, to not undercut, not to understate the fact that this is a truly unbreakable system. And the reason for that is that this is an equation with two unknown values, one of them being completely random. So if your adversary, your enemy, finds the ciphertext, the code that you sent out, they have nothing to back it up against. They have nothing to cross-reference. There is nothing that they can do to defeat the cipher, to to decrypt, to figure out what you're trying to say. So in an era of lightning quick communication where everything we kind of put security on the sidelines, when the day comes where our communication does need to be secure, then this is an incredible tool. So the system's been in use since the early 1900s by diplomats, the KGB, and other spies in World War II, the Cold War, Vietnam. Anytime that someone had to talk about secret squirrel stuff, it was there. So to start off our class, some terminology or definitions to get us familiar with the craft. Okay, so cryptography is the practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of adversarial behavior. So it is a way to speak in secret. You don't want your enemy knowing what you're saying, what you're communicating about. So this is the practice of that, the art of that. Plain text. Plain text is just unencrypted information. It's just out free and clear in the airwaves. A key is information, normally a string of letters or numbers that, when run through a cryptographic algorithm, encodes or decodes information. The key, think of this, in this class at least, as the one-time pad. So you add this to whatever message you're trying to say, and it encrypts the information. You would use it in the reverse to decrypt an encrypted message. So encryption, the process of encoding information into an alternative form of information known as ciphertext. And decryption, the process of decoding information into plaintext. So decoding that ciphertext into your plaintext, into your original message. So how to encrypt plaintext with a one-time pad. So plaintext is paired with a random security key, your one-time pad, that is at least as long as the message that's being sent. Each character in the plaintext is encrypted by combining it with the corresponding character from the pad using modular addition. To decrypt a message, the key is subtracted from the cipher to revert the message to plaintext. So you work in reverse, essentially. And then, of course, after use, your one-time pad is destroyed. Quick reminder that one-time pads must never be used in whole or in part more than once. Hey guys, this is 6 and 7. We want to take a break from the episode to tell you a little bit about our sponsor, Blackbeard Firestarters.
We've had Blackbeard Firestarter in our kit for years, ever since they came out with the Firestarter rope, which was seemingly powered by black magic. It was waterproof, it was windproof, it just worked.
And since then, nothing's changed. In fact, they've gone even better. They add their fire plugs. They started selling waterproof matches, ferro rod, arc lighters. You can't say anything now, but they're continuing to grow. And I feel like they're only going to get better with age. And on top of sponsoring the show, keeping the lights on for us, they're also offering a 15% discount on anything in their store if you use code STRONGMEN.
Head on over to their website at blackbeardfire.com. You can check out their entire inventory and see what works best for you. And like we said, at checkout, use code STRONGMEN, one word, to get 15% off your order.
Thanks, guys. Now back to the episode. So you might have caught a key phrase there, using modular addition. So modular addition, in a simplified explanation because I'm not all that great at math, modular addition, or modular arithmetic rather, is a system where numbers wrap around after receiving a certain value called the modulus. So the easiest way I found to explain this, I've heard this explained, is thinking of a clock, a 12-hour versus a 24-hour clock, right? So on a normal standard 12-hour clock, the day is divided into two 12-hour periods. So if it's 7 o'clock right now, in 12 hours, it'll be 7 o'clock again, either AM or PM. But if it's 7 o'clock now, in 6 hours, it will be 1 o'clock PM, because the clock wraps around at 12 o'clock. The numbers start over after they hit 12. Now, in a 24-hour format, the clock doesn't wrap around, the numbers don't wrap around after 12. So starting at midnight, 0 100, time ascends until 23:59 or 11:59 p.m. So you start at 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, all the way up to 12. Then you break that and go to 1300, 1400, 1500. And this actually does help when you're working with mods. But it's important to think of that distinction, because with these kinds of, this kind of arithmetic, this is where a lot of the ingenuity in the one-time pad comes from, because that modulus, that mod, can be designated as any of the numbers of the letters in your pad. So pretty neat. So in the 24-hour format, if it's 7 o'clock a.m. now, in 12 hours, it'll be 1900. So simple addition says that 7 plus 12 equals 19. But 19 reads 7 o'clock on a normal clock because the time wraps around itself after 12 hours. And 19 minus 12 equals 7. So 19 is congruent to 7 modular 12, written as 19 equals 7 mod 12. Now, to encrypt letters with the modular addition. So when we're talking about encrypting letters, we're going to be using modulo 26. So 26 letters in the alphabet, mod 26. So think of it this way. Starting at A equals 1. B is 2, C is 3, etc. until we get to Y, which will be equal to 25. Once we hit Z, we designate Z as 0. So, quick reminder, your plain text, so the message that you want to encrypt, plus your key equals your ciphertext, the encrypted information, what you actually pass off or drop off for somebody at a dead drop. Then your ciphertext minus the key, so whatever that person picks up, the encrypted information, minus the key that they have, because it's going to be the same. The one-time pads that you each have is going to be the same. That's why you both need to keep the utmost secrecy with it. Is going to equal your plain text, so the original message that you want them to receive. So encrypting using the one-time pad. So using that same mod 26 format where A equals 1 all the way to Y equals 25 and Z is 0, our plain text, as an example, HTSM, right, for hard time strongmen. So we will put up a graph on the Substack, on the Patreon, on the Instagram, so you guys can get a good visual of this, but just bear with me for a moment, okay? So H equals 8, T is 20, S is 19, and M is 13. So using that plain text, we're going to add the key, or the one-time pad. Now remember, this is a completely randomized key that's equal to the same length of my plain text, okay? For this one, I just chose A, Z, F, Q, so 1, 0, 6, and 17 respectively. Now, adding those together will make our ciphertext, which is I, S, X, D, or 9, 20, 25, and 4. So just taking a pause for a moment before we get into the decryption and everything, we went from HTSM to ISXD. And that's what's really great about using ciphers, and specifically the one-time pass. So there is no way, if you have no other information, if you don't have the key, if you don't have any other information, how in the world are you going to get HTSM from ISXD? And obviously this is not the most applicable message that we would want to send, right? But this was just to illustrate there is no way, if this is done correctly, if you follow the rules, then you have completely secure communication. And this is something that you can just type up at home. This is something that you can write off on the fly, and it's unbreakable. I don't care if you have the strongest computer in the world. It's mathematically unsolvable. It's really neat. So to decrypt that message, okay, you take your ciphertext, which is the ISXD, and you take away the key. So ISXD minus AZFQ. So just simple math here. 9 minus 1 equals 8. 20 minus 0 equals 20. 25 minus 6 equals 19. Now, 4 minus 17, when you get to a negative number, because it's mod 26, you just add 26. So 4 minus 17 equals negative 13. Negative 13 plus 26 equals 13, which gives us our plaintext. 8, 20, 19, and 13. HTSM. Now, for numbers, there's the same exact idea, same exact system, but it's modulo 10 or mod 10. So 0 through 9, plaintext plus key equals ciphertext. Ciphertext minus key equals plaintext. As an example, our plaintext would be 1, 2, 3, 4. The key I chose is 5, 6, 7, 8. For simplicity, obviously, this would be way more random. But plaintext plus key equals encryption. Ciphertext minus key equals plaintext. So 1 plus 5 equals 6. 2 plus 6 equals 8. 3 plus 7 equals 0. 4 plus 8 equals 2. It's literally that simple. So the 4 and 8 would equal 12, right? But 10 was our modulo, so we just get to 2. But try getting from 6802 to 1234. It doesn't track. So really, really neat system. And same thing with the mod 26. If you get to a negative number, you just add 10 and it'll work every time. But this is why modular addition is so important, because the values, the one-time pad keys, are random and the answers are limitless. It doesn't matter if the enemy has infinite computing power. He could produce the correct message. Absolutely. If he had unlimited time and resources, he could eventually get to the correct message that I was trying to send. But he would also produce an infinite number of wrong messages too. So the one-time pad is an equation with two unknowns, like we talked about earlier, the cipher and the key. And one of those, the key, is truly random. This equation is not solvable. You don't have enough information to attack it. So using modular or mod 26, right? A through Z, 1 to 0. If given the cipher TQDF, so 20, 17, 4, and 6. If someone has an infinite amount of time and infinite computing power, he could go through all possible keys, which is called a brute force attack, and find that using the key LWKS or 12, 23, 11, and 19 would give the correct message, which once again is HTSM. However, he would also find that using the key LHZA 12801 would give the message hide. Or if you use the key IHHF 9886, he'd get the message kill. He could also get the words meet, move, near, here, sell, gone, cash, depending on whichever wrong key is used. Your enemy could find anything, and that's the point. That's the beauty in it. The possibilities are infinite. So, your message is infinitely secure. Now, on principle, I have to mention that regardless of the security of your system, which this is perfect if you follow all the rules, right? You still need to assume, just as a rule of thumb, that anyone and everyone is listening. So, still use your code words, still use your pro words, your phrase lines, your call signs, etc. at all, right? Good security is like an onion. It's layered. And one more time, just for fun, your 4 rules, your 4 laws to keep your one-time pad absolutely secure. Rule 1, the key must be at least as long as the plain text. Rule 2, the key must be random, so uniformly distributed in the set of all possible keys, independent of the plaintext, non-algorithmic, patternless, chaotic. Anything else does not provide perfect secrecy. Number 3, the key must never be reused in whole or in part. And rule 4, the key must be kept secret by all communicating parties. That's all I got for you guys. I know this was a short one, but I saw a post a while back from Reaper11, and I thought it was a really cool subject and something that we haven't talked about personally on the channel. So I wanted to bring this to you guys. This is an incredible tool, and this was just honestly, researching all of this and coming up with the examples was just a really fun thought experiment for me. Now, I know this isn't going to mean a whole lot. I know you probably got the concept, but the examples were probably fuzzy with me just explaining, via spoken word. So outside of like the graphs that I'll provide, I will be providing the show notes for this class today. I'd like to start doing that for every class, but I will absolutely provide the show notes for this class today on our Instagram, Patreon, Discord, Substack, everything, so you guys can see exactly what I was working with today. But that was, I guess, another notch in our communication series, using one-time pads to make a pretty airtight cipher. Until next time, guys, this has been the Hard Time Strongman podcast, cheering up a bear class of man. Stay in the fight.
Check out our Discord, where we talk about all of the topics that we talk about in our conversations, but in deep dive format. We have a lot of members on there of varying skill sets, of varying proficiencies, all talking about all these topics, sharing their experiences. So join today and help us expand our knowledge base.
And check out our Patreon. Our Patreon, outside of just backing up all of our episodes for when we eventually get canceled, our patrons get access to our exclusive episodes, our pre-shows, our post-shows, our little tidbits here and there that we aren't really supposed to talk about. We're also opening up all of these exclusive episodes for people to individually purchase. So you don't have to get tied into a tier in order to get all that content. You can dip your toes in a little bit, decide you like it, then come and join us on that. We're having exclusive conversations, and along with the Discord, we are just building that community, building that skill set, that mastery, these proficiencies. And this, outside of our sponsor, is what's keeping the lights on and keeping all of this information, all these classes rolling for you guys. So make sure to check out our Patreon. And one last thing, guys, the world is better with you in it. If you're feeling suicidal or if you're in crisis, dial 988 or reach out at 988lifeline.org to get help. Someone's always on the line. So if you need a lifeline, remember 988. Stay in the fight.
Stay in the fight.